So when you picture Limassol, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For most people, it's sunny beaches, fancy marinas, and all those gleaming glass skyscrapers, right? It's got this reputation as a super vibrant, modern hub. But that's really only half the story. Maybe not even half. We're going to dive into this, because right under that shiny new surface, there's an incredible timeline stretching back thousands of years.
I mean, what if you could actually read a city's past, its wars, its rulers, its biggest dreams, not from some dusty old book, but just by looking at its buildings? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do with Limassol. We're going to see how every single stone, every wooden balcony, and every concrete block tells a piece of its amazing story. And I think understanding that is going to completely change how you see the city today.
Okay, so let's tackle that common image head on. On one hand, you've got this super modern Limassol, the city of international business and luxury living. But then, right beside it, sometimes literally under your feet, you have these ancient stones that form its very foundation. And that contrast, that right there, is the key to understanding everything.
To really get this story, we've got to go way back. I'm talking about a time before Limassol was even a thing. Its story actually starts with what you could call its architectural parents, two super powerful ancient kingdoms, and they could not have been more different from each other.
And this is what's so cool. The difference between them is just night and day. Over to the east, you had amethyst. Just think, heavy, solid, stone. Everything they built screamed power, religion, and safety. We're talking thick defensive walls, massive temples. But then you zip over to the west and you find Corian. Totally different vibe. It was built with this Greco-Roman flair, designed for public life. It had grand theaters, public baths, stunning mosaics. I mean, two completely opposite ideas of what a city is even for.
So Limassol itself kind of sprouts up right between the ruins of these two giants. And it's born into a time of just constant threat. This was not the time for art or for hanging out in public squares. Nope. This was an era where survival was everything. And boy, does the architecture tell that story.
The city just gets passed around, First the Byzantines have it, then Richard the Lionheart and the Crusaders show up, and later the Venetians take over. But here's the thing, they all had the exact same primary concern: defense. So every new ruler just built on top of what the last guy did, making the walls a little thicker, a little stronger, getting ready for that next inevitable attack.
And if you want to see this mindset set in stone, just look at Limassol Castle. It's the perfect example. Every single feature was built with one job in mind. The stone walls, incredibly thick, obviously, to withstand a siege. The windows, they're basically just narrow slits, great for an archer but pretty terrible if you actually want some sunlight. This thing wasn't built for comfort or beauty. It was a straight-up machine for military control, and it's a physical reminder of that brutal past that's still standing today.
So here's the big takeaway from this whole period. For centuries, Limassol was defined by military architecture. That's it. Its entire identity was shaped by the need to just hunker down and protect itself. Strength and control, that was the name of the game.
Okay, but then what happens when that constant threat starts to fade away, right? What happens when a city can finally, take a breath, when it doesn't have to think about survival 24/7? Well, this is where Limassol's story takes a really fascinating turn.
And just like that, a whole new era kicks off. As different empires take control and trade starts to flourish, the city's architecture starts to reflect daily life, commerce, and even a desire for comfort and style. The focus shifts from the huge fortress wall to the everyday family home.
And this change didn't happen all at once. It came in waves. During the Ottoman period, it was all about building smart for the Mediterranean climate. So you see inner courtyards for airflow and shaded wooden balconies. Then the British arrive, and they bring their sense of order, lots of symmetrical, practical government buildings. And finally, as local wealth really starts to grow, this confident neoclassical style emerges, with elegant columns and grand entrances. All those layers are what give the old town its incredible character and charm today.
And that brings us to the last century or so, where the pace of change just becomes, dizzying. This is where Limassol really transforms from a historic port town into the global city that we see today.
And man, was it a rapid journey. Right after independence in the 1960s, the focus was just on functional, concrete buildings. A new nation needs to get stuff built, right? Then by the 80s, the tourism boom just explodes, bringing all those hotels along the coast. And then, in the 21st century, the ambition went global, and that's expressed through those huge, iconic glass towers that now define the skyline.
So where does all that history leave Limassol today? Well, it leaves it with two powerful, kind of competing narratives, two architectural stories being told at the exact same time.
On one side, you have this relentless drive toward the future, a skyline that wants to compete on the world stage. But on the other side, there's this growing, passionate movement to save the city's soul, to restore the old neighborhoods and protect the historic townhouses. And this isn't just about buildings. It's a real debate over the very identity of the city for everyone who lives there or visits.
And in the end, that's what makes Limassol so unique. It really is a living timeline, and that's why it all matters. When you walk its streets, you're literally walking through history. You can touch the medieval stone of a fortress, see the Ottoman wood of a balcony, and then look up at a modern concrete skyscraper, all within a few minutes. Each era left its mark right there for you to discover.
This ongoing conversation between the past and the future is what defines the city right now. Which leaves us with one final question to think about. As Limassol continues to build, what will the next chapter of its story, the one being written in steel and glass, have to say?